What if I told your body already knows how to heal your heart, that deep inside, behind the medications, behind the scans, behind the dietary confusion, your cells are quietly working toward repair, not by adding more, by allowing space for less. This is not about deprivation. It's not a trend or it's about restoring something ancient, something encoded in your biology. Most people believe healing the heart is all about cholesterol numbers, blood pressure readings, or avoiding fat. But there's a quiet truth your body has been trying you for years. When you stop eating for periods of time, your heart gets a chance to heal. This natural rhythm of eating and resting, what we now call intermittent fasting, is not a fad. It's how humans lived for thousands of years. Our ancestors didn't eat around the clock. They moved, they rested, they waited, and when food was available, they nourished. In that rhythm, something powerful happening, the body repaired itself. But in modern life, that rhythm is broken. We wake up and eat. We snack mid-morning. Lunch, snacks, dinner, dessert. Maybe something late at night. And what we don't realize is that every bite, even the healthy ones, sends a signal to your metabolism. It says digest, not repair, store, not clean. This constant feeding blocks the very systems your heart depends on for recovery. Systems like autophagy, the cellular cleanup crew that removes damaged proteins and inflammation. Systems that lower insulin, calm blood vessels, and reduce oxidative stress, not with pills, but with time and space. This is especially vital for seniors. As we age, our cells become less efficient. Our mitochondria slow down, our inflammation rises, and healing takes longer. But the good news is, intermittent fasting can gently reverse that trend by restoring the metabolic flexibility once had. It can improve circulation. It can stabilize heart rhythms, which means it can reduce arterial stiffness. And maybe most importantly, it gives your body the time it needs to do what it was always designed to do: repair, rebalance, and regenerate. In this episode, you'll learn how intermittent fasting becomes a direct, natural protocol for heart health. We'll explore what's really happening in your body during a fast, from the cellular level to your energy levels. You'll discover how to start fasting safely, how to time your meals for better heart function, and how specific nutrients can support your body through the process. You'll also learn who fasting isn't about willpower. It's about rhythm. It's about giving your body space to breathe, reset, and restore. Not with restriction, but with wisdom. So if you care about sleeping deeper, healing faster, and aging with energy, make sure to watch until the end. And subscribe so you don't miss the natural wisdom your body is craving. Fasting lowers insulin, which relaxes your blood vessels and reduces arterial pressure. Let's begin with something many people overlooking. Your heart is not just a pump. It's a highly sensitive, finely tuned organ that responds constantly to your metabolic environment. And one of the most powerful influencers of that environment is insulin. Now, most of us have been trained of insulin as simply the hormone that manages blood sugar. And yes, that's one of its jobs. But insulin also affects your arteries, your kidneys, your nervous system, even your ability to burn fat. When insulin levels are chronically elevated, as they often are with constant eating, snacking, or hidden sugars, the cardiovascular system starts to shift in subtle but harmful ways. Let's look at one of those effects: blood pressure. When insulin is high, the kidneys respond by holding on to sodium. That sodium holds on to water, and that excess fluid increases the volume of blood in your system, which raises pressure inside your arteries. It's like trying to water a garden with the hose turned up too high. Pressure builds and delicate tissues get strained. But there's more. Insulin also stiffens the lining of your blood vessels, reducing their natural flexibility. Healthy arteries are meant to expand and contract like elastic, adjusting to your movement, your breathing, even your emotions. But with elevated insulin, that elasticity fades. The vessels become rigid, and that rigidity makes your heart work harder with every beat. And here's the part most people don't realize: this entire chain reaction is reversible, not with another pill, but with time away from food. When you practice intermittent fasting, say, by finishing your last meal by 6 or 7 p.m. and not eating again until 10 or 11 the next morning, you're giving your body the metabolic space to lower insulin. With every hour you're not eating, your insulin levels begin to normalize. Your kidneys start to release excess fluid. Your blood vessels begin to relax. Your heart rate gently slows, and your cardiovascular system shifts from high alert to healing mode. In fact, a study published in the Journal of Hypertension showed that intermittent fasting significantly reduces both systolic and diastolic blood pressure, especially in individuals with insulin resistance or metabolic syndrome. What's happening is not magic. It's physiology. Your body is designed to heal itself. You don't need to fight your body. Just understand it. Give it the time and conditions to reset. Let's take a real-world example, which means, imagine a retired school teacher. Call her Joyce. She's 68, active, eats what she believes is a balanced diet, but she's been told she has borderline high blood pressure and is pre-diabetic. Her doctor suggests medication, but Joyce starts reading about natural healing and begins practicing a 16-8 intermittent fasting protocol, finishing dinner by 6:30, then eating her first meal the next day around 10:30 a.m. She keeps her meals rich in potassium and magnesium, leafy greens, avocado, wild-caught salmon, and reduces snacking. In just a few weeks, she notices her morning energy is better. Her rings fit more loosely, a sign her body is shedding retained fluid. At her next checkup, her blood pressure has dropped into the health range, not because she restricted calories, but because she restored rhythm. Now, of course, any fasting routine should be personalized, especially for older adults. If you're on medications, especially for blood sugar or blood pressure, you'll want to work with a functional medicine practitioner to adjust safely. But the principle remains the same. When you give your body time between meals, you allow insulin to lower, pressure to stabilize, and healing to begin. So if this idea is helping you see health differently, tap the like button. It helps us reach more people who need this kind of clear, empowering insight. And if you're learning something new, which means make sure to subscribe, because we've got more to cover about how your body heals from the inside out. Autophagy removes damaged proteins and plaques linked to cardiovascular aging. Let's talk about something remarkable your body is capable of, something most people have never even heard of. It's called autophagy, and it just might be the most important repair system you're not using enough. Autophagy literally means self-eating, but not in the way it sounds. It's not destructive, it's regenerative. It's your body's way of cleaning house. When autophagy is activated, your cells begin to break down and recycle old, damaged proteins, malfunctioning parts, and cellular debris, the stuff that slows you down and silently contributes to aging and disease. Now, here's the key. Autophagy doesn't happen when you're eating all the time. It only switches on when your body sets a pause. When insulin is low, nutrients are scarce, and your metabolism shifts storage mode into survival and repair mode. And that's exactly what intermittent fasting triggers. This process becomes especially important for your heart and blood vessels. With age, our cells accumulate more waste, oxidized proteins, dysfunctional mitochondria, and even bits of plaque-forming cholesterol. These aren't just byproducts. They're active contributors to inflammation, arterial stiffness, and the kind of silent damage that can lead to heart disease, atrial fibrillation, or even heart failure over time. When autophagy kicks in, your body starts scrubbing out those damaged materials. It's like sending in a microscopic maintenance crew, vacuum out old cellular junk, patching up membranes, and renewing energy factories inside your cells. And in the cardiovascular system, this means smoother arteries, better endothelial function, and a healthier, more responsive heart. A study published in Nature Medicine found that impaired autophagy in aging hearts directly contributes to myocardial stiffening and dysfunction, especially in the left ventricle, which is responsible for pumping oxygenated blood throughout the body. But the researchers also found that when autophagy was restored, either through caloric restriction or fasting, heart function significantly improved. The cells began acting more youthful, more efficient, more alive. This isn't theoretical. This is observable, reversible physiology. And it doesn't take extreme measures. Many people begin seeing benefits from a simple 16-8 fasting rhythm. 16 hours of fasting, 8 hours of eating, done consistently. Even just waiting until late morning for your first meal and finishing dinner by early evening can begin nudging your body toward autophagy. Especially if you're not grazing in between. What's happening in your body during those fasting hours is subtle but profound. Your insulin drops. Your liver switches from storing fat to burning it. And inside your cells, those janitor proteins, called lysosomes, start breaking down worn-out parts so your cells can rebuild from within. This is particularly powerful for the heart muscle, which never rests. Unlike other organs that can pause or regenerate quickly, the heart is in constant motion, day and night. So cellular efficiency matters. When autophagy is active, the heart runs cleaner, cooler, and more smoothly. Not just lowering disease risk, you're literally extending the vitality of your cardiovascular system. And for seniors, this is a game changer. As we age, autophagy slows down naturally, but fasting gently reactivates it. Think of it like a switch that's turned down for years, not broken, just quiet. And now, with the right timing and intention, you're turning it back up, telling your body, I'm ready to heal. Let's ground this in something practical. If you want to encourage autophagy gently and safely, try starting with a 14-hour overnight fast. That might look like finishing dinner by 7 p.m. and eating breakfast around 8 a.m. Hydrate well during the morning. Water, herbal teas, even black coffee if it agrees with you. Avoid anything that spikes insulin. That includes sweeteners, even the natural ones. Then, after a few weeks, as your body adapts, you can extend to 16 hours if it feels right. Pair that with nutrient-dense meals during your eating window. Healthy fats like olive oil, avocados, wild fish, grass-fed meats, cruciferous vegetables. Foods that support cellular membranes and antioxidant pathways. If you're still with me, and this is opening your eyes to how your body truly works, give this video a thumbs up. It helps the algorithm reach others who are tired of quick fixes and ready for real healing. And make make sure you subscribe. We're going deeper into how fasting reduces oxidative stress and inflammation, two of the most dangerous silent drivers of cardiovascular aging. Fasting reduces oxidative stress and inflammation, two root causes of heart disease. Let's shift our attention to something that isn't measured on a bathroom scale, but plays a powerful role in how your heart ages. Oxidative stress and chronic inflammation. These are the hidden fires smoldering beneath almost every age-related disease, including heart disease. Most people think of inflammation as something obvious: swelling, pain, redness. But in your cardiovascular system, it's often silent. It lives in the lining of your arteries. It affects how your blood clots. It slowly degrades tissues over time, without any dramatic symptom till there's a crisis, like a heart attack, stroke, or sudden rise in blood pressure. And oxidative stress. Think of that as cellular rust. Your body, especially your mitochondria, the little engines in your cells, produce energy using oxygen. But in the process, they generate free radicals. When these free radicals are balanced by antioxidants, everything runs smoothly. But when they overwhelm your system, they damage DNA, proteins, and membranes. This is oxidative stress, and it's deeply linked to cardiovascular decline. Now here, intermittent fasting becomes such a powerful tool. It calms both of these processes at once. When you take a break from food, especially from glucose and processed carbs, your mitochondria begin to run more efficiently. You shift from burning sugar to burning fat, a cleaner, less inflammatory fuel source. This is called metabolic switching, and it's one of the main reasons fasting lowers oxidative damage. In a fasted state, your body produces more ketones, small molecules like beta-hydroxybutyric that fuel the brain and heart very efficiently. But ketones do more than provide energy. They act as signaling molecules that actively suppress inflammation and protect cells from oxidative damage. One ketone in particular has been shown in research to inhibit something called the NLRP3 inflammasome, protein complex that amplifies inflammation and is implicated in atherosclerosis, the buildup of plaque in arteries. So in essence, when you're fasting, you're not just resting your digestion, you're flipping biochemical switches that tell your body cool the fire, protect the vessel walls, strengthen the system. There's a study from the Journal of Clinical Investigation that found that fasting for even 24 hours reduced pro-inflammatory cytokines, the chemical messengers of inflammation, and improved antioxidant defenses in human subjects. And other studies show that even shorter fasts done consistently can improve endothelial function, meaning your blood vessels become more responsive and less reactive. This has real implications for how you feel and function as you age. Chronic inflammation contributes to stiff arteries, unstable plaque, arrhythmias, and even mood disorders linked to poor circulation in the brain. It also depletes the very nutrients your heart depends on, like magnesium, CoQ10, and B vitamins. Over time, this creates a cycle where more inflammation means more nutrient loss, which means less resilience. Fasting gently breaks that cycle. It gives your system a pause, a break from digestion, a break from glucose spikes, a break from the metabolic noise, so that your antioxidant systems can catch up, repair, and protect. Now, this doesn't mean you need to fast for days. In fact, long fasts are not necessary, especially for older adults. What matters most is consistency and rhythm. Just like your heart beats with a rhythm, your metabolism needs one too. Try a simple routine: stop eating 3 hours before bed. Give your body at least 12-14 hours overnight without food. As you adapt, gently increase to 16 hours if it feels supportive. Keep your eating window full of nutrient-dense, anti-inflammatory foods, wild-caught fish, leafy greens, turmeric, olive oil, and fermented vegetables, and be mindful of stress. Psychological stress raises cortisol, which increases inflammation. Pair your fasting routine with calming practices: gentle walks, nature time, deep breathing, or simply turning off screens earlier in the evening. These small, natural cues tell your nervous system it's time to restore. If this is helping you connect the dots between how you eat, how you heal, and how your heart functions, consider liking this video. It helps us spread this message of real, empowered aging. And if you're ready to go deeper, hit subscribe, because in part 4, we'll explore how intermittent fasting improves heart rate variability, a little-known measure of your heart's resilience and recovery that could change how you measure health entirely. Fasting improves heart rate variability, HRV, a key marker of cardiovascular resilience. What if I told you there's a simple number that reveals how well your heart adapts to life? It's not your cholesterol, it's not your blood pressure, it's something deeper, more dynamic. It's called heart rate variability, or HRV, and it might just be one of the most powerful indicators of your heart's overall resilience. Now, most people are familiar with resting heart rate, how many beats per minute your heart pumps at rest. But what many don't know is that those beats are not perfectly evenly spaced. In a healthy person, there's actually subtle variation between each heartbeat. One beat may be 0.88 seconds, the next 0.92, then 0.85, and so on. This variation is not an error. It's a sign of adaptability, of a heart that can shift effortlessly between action and rest. That adaptability is what heart rate variability measures. High HRV means your nervous system is flexible. It can respond to stress when needed and then recover quickly. Low HRV means your system is stuck, often in a state of sympathetic dominance, or what we call fight or flight. And here's why that matters for healthy aging. A higher HRV is strongly associated with lower cardiovascular mortality, better emotional regulation, stronger cognitive performance, and improved recovery from illness. In other words, it's not just about how strong your heart is, it's about how gracefully it responds to change. This is where intermittent fasting becomes so powerful. When you fast, you're not just resting your digestive system, you're also training your nervous system. You're asking it to operate with less external input, less stimulation, and more internal regulation. Over time, this practice increases your parasympathetic tone, your body's rest and repair mode, and that has a direct effect on HRV. Studies have shown that intermittent fasting increases HRV by improving vagal tone. That's the strength of the vagus nerve, the main communication line between your brain, your gut, and your heart. A strong vagus nerve calms the heart, slows the breath, lowers inflammation, and improves digestive and immune function. When your vagus nerve is strong, your heart doesn't panic under pressure. It adjusts. One study published in the journal Autonomic Neuroscience found that after just a few weeks of daily time-restricted eating, subjects experienced measurable increases in HRV, alongside improvements in insulin sensitivity and blood pressure. Another study in nutrition research found that fasting not only raised HRV, but also improved sleep quality, a key part of recovery and cardiovascular repair. Why does this happen? Because fasting changes your stress response. In modern life, most people are metabolically locked into fed mode. Constant eating, especially of processed foods, keeps insulin high and triggers inflammatory responses in the brain and body. This keeps the sympathetic nervous system activated, even during rest. Over time, that chronic activation wears down the heart. When you fast, especially during quiet morning hours, you give your system a break from stimulation. The nervous system recalibrates, the vagus nerve strengthens, and your HRV, your body's measure of resilience, begins to rise. You don't need high-tech monitors to benefit from this. You can feel it. Your breathing becomes calmer. Your sleep becomes deeper. Your emotional response to stress becomes softer. And over time, your heart learns to beat not just steadily, but wisely. If you'd like to naturally support your HRV, here are a few protocols you can combine with intermittent fasting. Eat your last meal at least 3 hours before bed. Late eating can raise nighttime heart rate and suppress HRV. In your fasting window, try incorporating short breathwork sessions. Even 5 minutes of slow nasal breathing, inhale for 4, exhale for 6, can raise parasympathetic tone. Support your vagus nerve with cold exposure. A splash of cool water on your face in the morning, or even ending your shower on cold, can increase HRV and calm inflammation. And finally, make sure your meals are built around whole, unprocessed foods. High sugar, seed oils, and artificial additives all suppress HRV by keeping your system in an inflamed state. If this is helping you connect the dots, if you're starting to see that health is more than numbers, that it's about how your body responds to life, then give this video a like. It tells the algorithm this is the kind of healing wisdom people are searching for. And if you haven't already, subscribe, because in part 5, we'll talk about your heart's circadian rhythm and how aligning your eating with daylight can reduce your cardiovascular risk more than any supplement ever could. Time-restricted eating aligns your heart function with your circadian rhythm. Your heart is not just a mechanical pump, it's a rhythmic organ, one that follows natural cycles tied not only to movement and rest, but to light and dark, day and night. Every cell in your body, including your heart, is governed by something called your circadian rhythm. This is your body's internal clock. It doesn't just regulate your sleep. It also dictates hormone levels, digestion, blood pressure, and even immune function. And when that rhythm is disrupted, your heart pays the price. Now here's the part most people miss: your meals are time cues. Every time you eat, you're sending your body a signal that daytime is happening. Your pancreas starts producing insulin. Your digestive enzymes activate. Your liver shifts into action. It's a full metabolic orchestra, and it expects to play in daylight. When you eat late at night, even a light snack, you confuse that rhythm. Your body is winding down, melatonin is rising, and now suddenly, it's asked to digest, spike insulin, and increase blood flow to the gut. That mismatch creates metabolic noise, and over time, it leads to higher nighttime blood pressure, poor sleep quality, and increased risk of heart disease. But when you eat in harmony with your circadian rhythm, meaning during a consolidated daylight window, you allow your heart and metabolic systems to rest, recover, and repair at night, the way nature intended. This is where time-restricted eating, a gentle form of intermittent fasting, becomes so powerful. It's not just about skipping meals. It's about realigning your eating window with your body's built-in timing system. For most people, that means eating your first meal mid-morning, your last meal by early evening, and allowing the overnight hours to remain quiet, free from food, digestion, and metabolic stress. There's research to support this. A study published in Cell Metabolism found that people who ate all their meals within an 8-10-hour window, aligned with the light part of the day, had lower blood pressure, improved insulin sensitivity, and even reductions in arterial stiffness compared to those who ate over a 14-hour window. And perhaps even more impressive, these improvements happen without changes in calorie intake. The participants didn't eat less, they just ate earlier. Why does this work? Because the cardiovascular system follows a diurnal pattern. Blood pressure naturally rises in the morning, peaks around midday, and then tapers toward evening. When you eat late, say after 8 p.m., you override that pattern. Your heart rate stays elevated, your cortisol remains higher, and your body remains in day mode long into the night when it should be healing. Let's bring this into a practical rhythm you can try. Start by gently closing your eating window earlier. If you typically eat dinner at 8, try moving it to 7, then 60-30. Aim to finish all meals 3 hours before bedtime. This gives your digestion time to complete before sleep begins. And that's when the real restoration starts. During your eating window, ideally between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m., choose heart-supportive meals, foods rich in potassium. I like spinach and avocado. Magnesium, I like pumpkin seeds and dark leafy greens. And omega-3s like wild salmon or flax. These nutrients support your heartbeat, reduce arterial stiffness, and calm the nervous system. If you wake up hungry or dizzy, try a gentle mineral drink in the morning, like warm water with a pinch of sea salt and lemon, to support your adrenal glands and gently ease into your fasting window. Over time, as your insulin levels stabilize and your circadian rhythm aligns, you'll notice something subtle but powerful. Your hunger will shift. You'll stop craving food late at night, you'll sleep more deeply, and your energy in the morning will be more stable, not a crash but a calm focus. All of this creates a foundation for better cardiovascular health, not through force, but through alignment. So if you're learning something new, if this is helping you think differently about how timing impacts healing, consider giving this video a like. It helps us reach more people looking for real, natural answers. And if you haven't already, subscribe, because in part 6, we'll bring it all together by showing how intermittent fasting helps reduce visceral fat and preserves lean muscle, easing the workload on your heart and restoring metabolic flexibility. Fasting supports weight loss without muscle loss, relieving cardiac strain. For many people, especially as we age, weight becomes a quiet source of concern. Not just because of appearance, but because of how it affects energy, joints, and especially the heart. But what often gets missed in conversations about weight loss is this: not all weight is equal. The real danger isn't just the number on the scale, it's where that weight is stored and what kind of tissue it is. The most harmful kind of fat is called visceral fat, the type that wraps around your organs, particularly your liver, pancreas, and heart. This fat is biologically active. It releases inflammatory chemicals, disrupts hormones, and puts significant strain on your cardiovascular system. In fact, even people who appear normal weight can have high visceral fat and elevated heart risk. Now, here's the challenge with most conventional weight loss methods: they often lead to the loss of muscle, not fat, especially in older adults. Restrictive dieting, calorie cutting, and chronic cardio can cause your body to break down lean mass for fuel. And when that happens, your metabolism slows, your posture weakens, and your heart ends up working harder, not less. This is where intermittent fasting offers something entirely different. It encourages fat burning, especially visceral fat, while preserving lean muscle. Here's why. When you fast, your insulin levels drop. This signals your body to start burning stored fat for fuel, especially in the liver and abdominal region, where insulin-sensitive fat is stored first. At the same time, your body releases a hormone called growth hormone, which helps protect and preserve lean muscle during the fasting window. This is a very different biochemical environment than traditional dieting. And for older adults, this is critical. You don't want to lose strength as you lose weight. You want to become leaner and stronger at the same time. And that's exactly what fasting helps support when done right. In a randomized trial published in Obesity, participants who practiced time-restricted eating lost more visceral fat than those who followed a traditional calorie restriction diet, even though both groups lost a similar amount of total weight. And those in the fasting group preserved more lean muscle mass. Let's also talk about the mechanical relief fasting gives your heart. The more body mass you carry, especially central mass, the more effort your heart must exert to pump blood efficiently through the system. Every pound of fat adds miles of extra capillaries your heart must circulate through. When you reduce visceral fat even by a few pounds, you lower your blood pressure, ease systemic inflammation, and reduce cardiac strain with every beat. Imagine this like carrying a heavy backpack 24/7. Over time, your knees ache, your back tightens, your breathing becomes shallower. Now imagine slowly taking off that weight, not all at once, but gradually, safely, rhythmically. That's what fasting does for your heart. It removes the internal load. Now let's talk practical steps. If you're over 60 and looking to reduce visceral fat while keeping your strength, start with a 14-10 fasting schedule. That's 14 hours of fasting, 10 hours of eating, say from 9:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. Over time, work toward a 16-8 window if that feels right. During your eating window, prioritize protein, about 25-30 grams per meal from high-quality sources like eggs, fish, legumes, or grass-fed meat. Pair it with healthy fats and fibrous vegetables to slow digestion, nourish your gut, and support muscle recovery. Incorporate simple, functional movement, walking, gentle resistance training, yoga, during the day. This enhances fat oxidation and tells your body to preserve muscle during the fast. And hydrate well: water, mineral-rich broths, herbal teas. Fat burning produces metabolic waste, and your kidneys need water and electrolytes to flush it out effectively. Remember, fasting isn't about deprivation. It's about rebalancing your biology so your body can do what it's designed to do. It's not extreme, it's not risky, it's natural, and when combined with thoughtful nourishment and movement, it becomes one of the most efficient, sustainable ways to support your heart, your weight, and your long-term energy. If this gave you a clear understanding of how weight, fat, muscle, and heart health are all connected, give this video a like and share it with someone you care about, especially someone who's been told they just need to eat less and move more. In the final part of this episode, we'll bring all of these pieces together, and I'll give you a simple, daily action plan to begin reclaiming your heart health naturally. You've seen that your heart is not simply aging, it's responding. It's responding to every signal you give it, the meals you eat, the rhythms you follow, the pauses you allow. You've learned that fasting isn't starvation. It's not a trend, a punishment, or a diet. It's a return to how your body is wired to thrive, a way to make space so your cells can finally breathe, repair, and reset. You've learned that high insulin isn't just a blood sugar issue. It's a cardiovascular one. That when insulin stays elevated, your arteries tighten, your blood pressure climbs, and your heart strains under the weight of too much metabolic noise. But when insulin drops, even gently, even just a little, something beautiful happens. Pressure eases. Fluid releases, your heart relaxes. You've learned about autophagy, the silent clean up crew inside your cells. It doesn't just keep you younger on the outside, it restores the inside. It removes the stiff, damaged proteins that harden arteries and steal vitality. And it doesn't need a drug, it just needs time, space, stillness between meals. You've seen how inflammation and oxidative stress age the heart far faster than time ever could. But those too can be calmed, not by adding more, but by stepping away from the constant demands of digestion. By letting your mitochondria do what they do best, generate clean energy, not exhaust fumes. You've learned that the rhythm of your heart is not separate from the rhythm of your life. That your circadian clock, the ancient pattern of light and dark, guides everything from blood pressure to digestion to mood. And when you honor that timing by eating in daylight and resting in darkness, your heart hears it. Your nervous system hears it. You sleep deeper, recover faster, and live with more ease. You've learned that the weight that burdens your joints and your spirit, especially the deep, hidden visceral fat, is not permanent. It can be burned gently, naturally, and with fasting, you can preserve what matters, your strength, your muscle, your clarity. And maybe most importantly, you've learned this truth that your body is not broken. It doesn't need to be fought. It needs to be listened to, supported. Given a little time, a little space, and the right environment, your body already knows what to do. So where do you begin? Not with extremes, not with all or nothing. You begin by claiming one window of peace in your day. Maybe it's a 12-hour fast overnight. Maybe it's ending your meals 2 hours earlier. Maybe it's one intentional pause where you choose water, movement, or breath instead of another snack. Each of those is a message that says, I trust my body. I'm giving it time to heal. Here's a simple, natural challenge to try tonight. Finish dinner by 6:30 p.m. Skip any late night snacks. Sip warm herbal tea if you need something. Go to bed earlier than usual, even 30 minutes. Then tomorrow morning, wait until 8 or 9 a.m. for your first meal. Observe how your body feels. Not just your hunger, but your clarity, your breath, your sleep, your calm. Then repeat. These small decisions, practiced with intention, begin to reshape your biology. They lower insulin. They restore rhythm. They unlock repair. Not in weeks, but in days. And with consistency, your body will do what it's been waiting to do, heal. If you found this helpful, let us know in the comments. What will you try first? What feels most doable, most empowering right now? And if you haven't already, subscribe and join us on this journey of natural healing and healthy aging, because your body is ready, your heart is listening, and the healing you've been waiting for may be just one rhythm away.